G'day. My name's Matt Yarvin. I'm a pastor at the Citywide Baptist Church, and it is an unusual time. It's a time where churches are having their actions shaped by government in a way that hasn't happened in our history. So I thought we'd take a chance to have a chat to my local member and also somebody who's intimately aware of the workings of our state government, Jacqui Petrusma, about how things are going from the inside and in particular how churches can productively engage with this moment. I hope you find this conversation helpful. I started by asking her how long she's been in Parliament.
Over 10 years now, Matt. So currently I'm the Deputy Speaker for the Parliament of Tasmania, which is a very different role. It's like being in charge of 24 sometimes naughty children. But yes, it's as a mother of 4 children, I find my parenting skills of sit down, be quiet, or, get out, comes into fore quite a lot. So, yeah, but I'm very lucky. I work with a great bunch of people.
So tell us, I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard the word unprecedented over the last 4 weeks, but what's this moment been like for you personally?
Like everyone, trying to adjust to the new paradigm of social distancing. I'm now trying to work from home, getting to learn lots of new platforms of conducting meetings over the internet, whether it's on Skype or Zoom or Cisco, WebEx, House Party. I didn't realise there were so many different ways of social connectivity, but it's lots of phone calls and lots of emails because we are going through, as you said, an unprecedented time. There are lots of people out there who sadly and tragically have lost their businesses, lost their jobs, and a lot of people are hurting. And I've also got 3 children I'm trying to get to study and motivate to get up and study every day. And I'm finding that especially for our young people, they were looking forward to Easter, and now Easter's a very somber time and a lot of time of uncertainty, and it's very hard for us all to adjust to this new paradigm of social distancing.
Mm. Can you help us understand what it would be like on the inside right now for Premier Gutwein and the rest of the government team? It's hard to imagine, like for Peter Gutwein coming into, I mean, still adjusting to being Premier and now having to manage this moment on our behalf. What is life like on the inside of the government right now?
Of course, there's the usual 24-hour news cycle, which at the moment is absolutely consumed with COVID-19. And so they're dealing with that, but they're also dealing with endless numbers of emails and phone calls. And unfortunately, being a member of Parliament, it is a 24/7 job. It's because when people email you or phone you, because they do need assistance as soon as possible. If they email you on a Friday night, it can't wait till Monday morning. You can't just say, look, I'll get back to that email later, or I'll return that phone call later, because sometimes people are in crisis or they just need assistance or help that unfortunately can't wait. And as you said, this is unprecedented times, and it's also uncharted waters for us all. And I know yesterday I was talking to the Premier and he was saying he's been existing on 24-hour sleep some nights, and he's only managed to see his family once in 3 weeks, and that was for, less than a day that he actually saw them for. So it is a very busy time, and we have to remember that they are only human as well. So, and they do carry the weight of all the decisions on their shoulders because being a minister means being a servant for the people of Tasmania, and each of them takes that responsibility gravely. And each and every decision that they've had to make so far definitely hasn't been easy, and it's weighed heavily on them. But it also affects their families as much as it affects our families, Matt, because, I know for the Premier, as I said, he doesn't get to see his family as often as he wants to. I know for my son, it's the decision to he missed out by days in getting his license. And I never thought I'd ever see my kids get so excited over a box of Weet-Bix or a bag of oats. And you just think, it's some ways this is good that we actually get more excited over the little things than what we used to in the past.
So for church leaders, people who would normally go to church on a Sunday morning, what would be the best ways for them to be praying for our government at the moment?
Just praying that every decision that they make is done with wisdom and discernment, because none of the decisions have been made easy, but at the moment they have had to make the hard decisions in regards to businesses, people's livelihoods, and unfortunately lives have already been lost in Tasmania. So it's about, when do you start removing the restrictions, because we do want to keep Tasmanians safe. So wisdom and discernment, good health, because there are only 9 ministers, including the Premier, and if one minister gets sick, it means that the other 8 ministers need to carry the workload of that minister, because in Tasmania you can't bring in a temporary minister. And if a couple of them get sick, it means it goes down to 7 or 6. So we do need them to be able to have the strength and the energy and the fortitude to get through these times. The other thing is there's a great sense of collegiality now amongst all members of Parliament, whether you're independent, Green, Labor or Liberal, and it's the best I've ever seen it in my 10 years. And I think it's wonderful to see that now. And my hope and prayer is that actually continues on into the future, because all members of Parliament, and I have great respect for all members of Parliament, they honestly are doing it because they want to see the people of Tasmania, or people in Tasmania, thrive, and to see the best Tasmania we can possibly do. And I think through all of us coming together through this time, it's really strengthening those relationships. But as well as prayer, can I encourage people, if you have the time, to drop the Premier a card, or write a letter, or send him an email, because just to encourage them and to let them know that you're alongside them and praying for them, because I think they need to know the value of the church and that the church is there to support them. Because if we go back to Exodus with Moses, when Moses was getting really tired, he had Aaron and Hur alongside him, lifting up his hands to keep on fighting the battle. And I really feel that's what the church can offer members of Parliament during this time, especially the Premier and ministers, to be like Aaron and Hur, and to lift their arms up.
Absolutely. So in addition to prayer and encouragement, what other ways can the church productively engage with this moment?
Well, at the moment, we know that with such a high degree of social isolation, that it's more important now than ever that we maintain social connectivity, because we know on just about every risk factor, whether it's mental or physical health, or drug and alcohol abuse, sexual abuse, family violence, online gambling, through the lack of that social cohesiveness, social connectivity, those risk factors increase dramatically. And they don't just happen in lower socioeconomic communities, they happen in all streets and across all social demographics. So for people in the church, this is a time, I think, for the light of Christians to shine. We could be that light in our streets, in our neighbourhoods, even in our workplaces, through encouraging social connectivity online, but also through volunteering. It's Tasmania, most volunteers are aged over 65 years, and with now over 65s having to stay at home, there is a lack of volunteers in Tasmania, and the charities are really noticing they need more people to volunteer. And if you're working from home but now have time free during the day, because you can adjust your work family balance by having a few hours off during the day, go and volunteer, go and drop a note in the next door neighbour's letterbox. Myself and my next door neighbour, it's very sad to say, but on Friday we actually had a really good chat over the fence. We hadn't done that for quite a few years because we just got so busy in our day-to-day lives with family and work, and all we're doing is waving hi at each other. And we actually said, this is really nice. It's good to actually connect. We should be doing more of it. And this is an opportunity to have a reset, but in a good way too, where we really appreciate the value of neighbours, of our friends, of our family, of seniors, of our young people. And it's an opportunity for all Christians, I think, to step up and let people know that they want to make a difference.
I believe in particular, Volunteering Tasmania has now opened up a way of signing up to be an emergency volunteer. So you can put your details in there and for be ready to be called on in case there are particular things that can be helped with that sort of
That's right. It's Volunteering Tasmania has this great program called EV Crew, which is a emergency volunteering crew, and you can just go on Volunteering Tasmania website, or I think you can register. I think it's registered emergencyvolunteering.org.au. I don't know, but I'll have to get that actual email address for you, Matt. But it's a great way for anyone to register their availability to be a volunteer, and to also let charities know that you're willing to assist. But also, if you are a member of a charity and you're finding that volunteers are low, that you don't have enough volunteers, they can actually help you to source volunteers as well. And it's a great initiative, but during this time it's really an opportunity for the church to shine.
Absolutely. So just as we finish the conversation, when this is all done, what would you hope that how would you hope that this might even have impacted Tasmania? I guess there's going to be a lot of negative ways it impacts us, but what positive ways would you hope this would impact Tasmania?
I think it'd be wonderful at the end of this that there are lots of stories about how people connected in really innovative ways. And I have to say that in my work now, where quite often the only emails I was getting up to now were people who had an extreme need and needed help, but now I'm starting to get the stories of individuals and communities connecting through, whether it's through teddy bear drives, or it's writing a chalk message outside somebody's house. They're taking part in EV Crew, where they're bringing up people who are elderly or socially isolated, getting to know people in their street they've never met before. And I see this as an unprecedented opportunity for us to maybe down tools, to focus on what's more important, our families, to actually understand what our young people are studying in school, because it's been where you have a sort of, so I suppose, helicopter view of what young people are studying. Now I'm actually getting to know it really in depth, and it's an opportunity to work alongside our children to actually help them to succeed too, but also to be an encourager. So I think at the end of this, if we can compile all the good stories so that we can look at this time of not only a time of angst, but also as a time of positive change. And I think Christians can really lead that positive change in Tasmania by doing what Christians have done for nearly over 2,000 years now, being the light in their communities. I think that'll be a really great outcome.
That's a great place to leave it. Thanks for your time, Jacqui.
Thanks, Matt, and blessings to everyone.